Alrighty, howdy there, nerds, and today's little review of, goodness gracious, the next update, 2.10, is now available, but joining me this time is another FadeTuber by the name of Deltran. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him. Hi, Deltran, how you doing?
Hey, sages, greetings, and salutations.
How you doing, buddy? So we're going to be going over a few things. We're going to go over what's been added in 2.10. That includes new weapon refines, and then we're going to dive into the stats for the new characters as well, and just see what's happening, as well as talk about Dorcas, who's going to be our next Tempest trial unit. So, are you ready? Are you prepared, sir?
And we're prepared as I can be.
Alrighty then. Let's go over to the refine menu and just take a look at these new characters. As you can see, we are going to just take a look at lon'qu's new weapons. So, lon'qu gets Solitary Blade, which is a simple one. It accelerates special trigger cooldown, as, you know, so often is the case with a lot of these weapons. And then we also have, when you upgrade it, it gets, of course, the life and death effect. It's a very odd stretch of... I mean, it's basically like Raven, but Raven, you know, it's basically Raven's weapon in sword form, I guess, if you really wanted to put it. I mean, it's a good fit for him, I think. What would you say for that?
You know, overall, I do like it. It's sort of funny, though, that in the way things have been going, that whenever I look at this, I'm like, oh, lon'qu's viable now. You know, it's like, I look at this, and it would be something that would be impressive, like, even, like, 3-6 months ago, but now it's just like, oh, no, now you can use lon'qu. But, I mean, when it comes down to it, he had this weird low mixed bulk thing that wasn't doing him any favors. So I think this is wonderful on him. It puts him up there. It makes him useful.
It really makes, it's kind of like how Raven boosts himself up after that, so that's really great. I'm really happy for that. Next up, let's take a look at Tana's weapon. Now, Tana's weapon actually gains an additional effect when you upgrade it no matter what. Instead of just defense plus 7, she also gains res plus 7 during combat as long as a sword, lance, axe unit, or, you know, dragonstone. And then you add in the additional effect, and if a unit within 2 spaces of an infantry or armored ally, it grants attack and speed plus 4 during combat. So the one thing that I know this works off of, you know, for her is it works off of guidance. You know, she has guidance, she has that built into her kit. That affects infantry and armored, so it just makes sense for her. I think it, you know, it's probably a better buff than I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Yeah, I was afraid for her, too. I mean, I actually have been running Fire Sweep Lance on mine. Vidolfnir just was not potent enough to bother with before, but now that you can actually block a dragon with her now, and now that you have that buff, within 2, that's honestly my favorite part, is that you don't have to be right adjacent to somebody for this to happen, which means you get to actually leverage the flexibility a flyer has to go wherever the heck they want, except for over a wall, because, you know, 5-foot walls are scary. But otherwise...
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, no, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. It's really great. So therefore, honestly, some of these I feel are not necessarily like, you know, huge things like Last patch, we of course had Celica and all that other, you know, Cherish and all these characters who got really crazy buffs and all that fun stuff. But now we're getting a little bit more going on, so. And of course, finally, we're going to talk about Innes's refine. He still keeps the owl tome-like effect, where the more allies around him, the more damage, you know, or speed, or defense, or res, whatever he gets. But if you actually manage to refine it into its special effect, it makes it so magic and dragon foes cannot counterattack. Which, it makes him kind of like Jafar in a sense. I guess, just, I'm not sure how to put this one, honestly. Also, I don't know what I was doing with my Innes. You know, now that I look at it, I'm going to have to figure that one out, but, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no comment there, but otherwise, no, yeah, Nidhogg, this is a refine that he has been looking for. Poor Innes just got, like, outclassed, like, within, like, weeks of him being on the scene, and him being able to tank a dragon was not... You wouldn't want to initiate on a dragon. They always had quick riposte. Now there's so many armor dragons that can do better than that. This makes it so you can actually use him again. And then if he gets hit on the next turn after that, he'll be able to actually take a punch, wipe off his nose, and then just go again.
Yeah, and not only that, thankfully this is actually targeting dragons as well, so it's not necessarily getting itself stuck into the position like Jafar does. Jafar does a good job with what he can. You know, he does a great job if you manage to get him and refine him like that. So, but this one actually targets dragons, which a lot of people have been kind of complaining about somewhat. So I guess that's a bit of a bonus. I just don't know if we're going to be able to handle the armored dragons and all that fun stuff that's coming with that. So
It's true, but the last thing to say about that, it is nice to see something that's not red or green have something that is targeting dragons.
yeah, exactly, because for the longest time we've had that. And now we're going to be diving into the stats for the new characters, the new ones that includes, of course, Dorcas. So with this, we of course have to thank our Game Press, staff for always putting out such amazing data mines that are incredibly reliable as well. And as always, check out the description for them. Thank you to Naz, Kaz, Mopo, CC Fire. There's so many out there who continue to do the work, God's work, I guess, in this fashion, and it's just amazing to see. So let's pull open the stats, and let's talk about what's happening here. So we're going to start from left to right and slowly move on to, of course, our big bad boys that are in there. I'm sure a lot of you are interested in what Mer has to offer, but so Mia has a BST of 150, at least from what I can tell. She's our first flying staff unit. Her staff is going to be able to include a guard effect, meaning that, enemies who attack won't be able to gain that special charge. And it also, I believe, according to the description, that long description, it resets it completely. So I don't know if it resets it completely, but it resets it somewhat. So, what do you think about that? Those stat lines.
It's funny. As soon as I found out it was a flying staff user, that was all I thought I needed to know. But it's nice to see that she does have some decent bulk, at least in resistance. Not in melee, but that's never where you want to put your staff user.
Yeah, seriously.
Not the fastest. She actually has a speed value as well. So, I mean, she actually has some stats you can work with in a 150 BST. I didn't add up the math. Simple math is hard for me. But, that's usable.
Yeah, that is. Not only that, 34 speed is reliably fast. 30 attack is not terrible either, especially for a staff unit because, let's face it, staff units these days are reliably dumb in how they work, And, because, just slap on Razzle Dazzle and you're good to go. That's pretty much how it is. Especially with that new staff effect and, well, all these new weapon effects. Oh my goodness, I just saw Niles' speed, I'm sorry. Alright, let's move on to Kagero. Kagero, our first colored dagger armored unit, has some amazing attack and really great defense and res. 33 res, 32 defense. Speed is obviously not something that she has a strong suit in, but then again, when it comes to armored, usually that isn't how it's going to be. Although, I find it odd that she's dressed as a maid, but hey, whatever.
It's all those wine bottles she's throwing around.
Yeah, she's too drunk to even stand at this
or
point.
Juice bottles, I'm sorry.
Yep, I just... Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I think that's a solid first rendition of a dagger unit that's armored. Not only that, bold fighter, she doesn't need the speed. She already is going to double no matter what. As long as she has, the initiation, she's going to be hopefully a solid player phase unit. I don't know how I feel about colored daggers half the time, honestly. It's just kind of a difficult one for me.
A big sticking point because everybody up to this point for the most part has been thinking about dagger users being colorless, so they're good against everybody. Well, now suddenly you have a dagger. Well, you never expect a dagger user to go up against, say, Zephiel, Black Knight, all that stuff. But yeah, no, it does throw some things off and it completely limits a color from you. But otherwise, no, she does have. Even if you look at her and go, "Oh, I hate Kagero as a person."
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I mean, she's going to be able to do a lot. I think she will. And hopefully, I'm wondering how well these weapons are going to work out in the future, but let's just see how it happens. Now, let's talk about Niles before we get into Mer, because Mer's going to be a fun one. Niles has 39 speed as an armored unit. That's actually quite high, considering. That's actually very, very high. That's probably...
absolutely.
Isn't that... I might be wrong, but isn't that the highest speed an armored unit actually has in the game right now, or am I losing it? I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure that you're correct. The highest I think is Valentine's Day Lynn.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And she doesn't have, and she's not that high. She's 36. Yeah, she's 36. So yeah, this beats that.
And he has decent enough attack at 34 as well. Granted, he's suffering a little bit when it comes to his defense and res, but it's still something decent enough, you know? So, we'll have to...
It's... With once you figure in the buffs for armor emblem that you'd be typically bringing, you'll probably be okay just stacking those, because I mean otherwise, I'll put it this way, he's not doing any worse in that department than what a lot of other range users have been doing.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean,
oh my goodness. Well, I mean, that's a good thing for him. He also has a very unique bow, but I'm wondering if it's just going to be something people just slap Brave Bow on, and since he's an armored unit and he has, you know, advantages to get to things like Bold Fighter, yeah, we're gonna have to worry about that. Okay, now comes the big one, the lolly that everyone wants, the little girl that everyone's scared of. It's Myr. Now, a lot of the things that were going on in the trailer when it came to Myr, everyone was freaking out because they saw 25 additional damage from Bonfire. But as you can see there, her defense is actually 40, which is not bad. That's actually a lot better than what I thought was going to happen. Her BST is 179. So that is just below Legendary Tiki. Just below.
yeah,
But I think she has a super boon in one stat. I could be wrong. I need to review my notes here.
oh no, I wish. Yeah, I'm very curious.
But she's going to be something that a lot of... God, I just... I think that's going to be a unit that everyone's probably going to want to go for, obviously. She shares a common trait that she has with her normal version, which she does not have exactly amazing speed. Not very impressive speed. 23 is not going to help her, but then again, an armored unit with 40 defense, if you use a physical attacker, it shouldn't do too much damage. And 32 res is decent enough. And then you add in the fact that she also has, she gets additional effect from her weapon, an additional defense from her weapon. And then she also gets, a premium A skill slot in defense res too. I think that's right.
yeah, if you want to call that premium, yeah, it's there.
And then, of course, we also have, she's exactly what you would probably want from a red armored dragon unit. Okay.
Finishes off that triangle beautifully.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, you now have all of the armored dragons you could ever want, folks. So just go take a look and see what you get. And, yeah. Let's see what happens, shall we? Okay, let's just move on over. I'm having to do this the jankiest way possible, by the way, guys. But, there he is. He's slowly coming onto screen. It's Dorcas, the Pumpkin Smasher. Oh, my God. What a beautiful creature. Now...
I'm in love with this art. I mean, that's not my team, but I'm in love with this art.
So let's talk about Dorcas as a whole. Okay, computer, I don't know what you're doing now, but anyways, Dorcas has, he's of course an armored axe unit, which is, this is going to be a really good one for those out there who need an armored unit, just as a free-to-play unit. He comes with Fierce Stance 2 at 4 stars, and Wary Fighter at 5. His weapon is Hack-a-Lantern, and that is exactly what you would assume it is. It's the same exact effect as the other characters' weapons, from this banner. The guard-like effect that is initiated when you attack. And also, of course, he happens to be, I think he has about 170 or so BST, 173 if I recall correctly, which is pretty high up there considering, especially for a free-to-play unit. So...
You're right. If people are hurting, then this is going to be something great to put on the field. And he's going to hit pretty hard. He technically has the highest attack outside of Banes and Boons.
He is, yeah. He's a lot like Effie. He's a green Effie in a way. Kind of like how Christmas Crom was green Effie before. This is green Effie a little bit better, if I do say so myself.
Than what Effie would have. So yeah, absolutely.
37 defense is great. 21 res is going to hurt him a little bit, but at least no one's going to poison his candy, I hope. Sorry, we had to make that joke eventually. It's contractually obligated. But all in all, I have to say that all of these units seem to be really reliable, and this is probably one of the better seasonal banners that we've had for a while in just pushing limits when it comes to stats and what units are going to be available. I think that might be because, of course, armored, units typically are just better stat-wise. But then again, we have Mia over there, who's going to be exceptionally powerful with a lot of what they have. And if you don't, if you want Fierce Stance, there you go. There, you got it. Anything you want to say, Deltran?
No, I'm super excited for these, especially that Tempest Trial unit. That's amazing. But otherwise, I'm not let down by these guys at all.
Yeah. All in all, I say 2.10 does a good job. We're gonna have to see how the light and not light version of the game works. I'm gonna have to see a comparison when I get the chance to do that. But all in all, it seems like a solid addition to the team for free-to-play units, and also for those who want to have a powerful unit that's on the side. So, all in all, I say this is a good banner. This seems like a fun update. I'm just wondering what else we're going to see. Now we have all the concerns of, well, Abyssal Mode, which, by the way, is now available here with Narcian. Great. Fantastic. I'm not going to touch that one just yet.
I was going to say, now I know what I'm doing with my evening.
Oh, great, yeah. Alrighty, nerds. That is pretty much it for now. We'll have a few other things we'll talk about, what's coming in the Tempest Trial outside of, Dorcas. We have some seals to discuss. But for now, I think it's time to say goodbye. As always, guys, check out the description not only for the Game Press article, but also checking out Deltran's channel. The link for his will be there. He does some really great reviews of units and all these other discussion pieces. And also, check out the Gleam contest as well. We're working on getting to 100,000. That's all I really got to say. Anything you want to say, Deltran, before we head out?
Thank you, Sages, and thank all of you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate all of you.
Yeah. See you soon, nerds.